Welcome to the Spark and Heal podcast. Today, we're talking about transitioning back to professional life after breast cancer, which is one of the biggest hurdles for women who are trying to regain the normal, whatever it is, life back. And today, I'm talking with Andrea, who empowers people to build resilience and navigate difficult career transitions. Hi again.
Hi, Ina. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, before we start, I think it's always important to understand the path to where you are right now. Can you maybe start with your story, how you became a career coach?
Sure. So I started my career in startups. That was kind of early on, and then I transitioned into corporate world kind of 10 years ago, and I've been working for one of the biggest tech companies since. I started in digital advertising and, kind of supporting role, transitioned to sales. And then I quickly realized that there are so many factors that I like about working with clients, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the technical side and I transitioned my career to a little different direction. I searched, I did a lot of networking, and after a while, I realized recruiting could be just kind of what I'm looking for in terms of the skills that I would need to have and use kind of day to day, and how the job would look like. So I wasn't really wrong. When I transitioned into kind of recruiting and talent acquisition almost 7 years ago, I instantly fell in love with the field. I could be helping other people get their dream jobs and also kind of, almost change their lives. So the helping aspect was always very important for me. I started coaching and mentoring within the company internally kind of a while back. Not only helping people move career like vertically, upwards as most people think, but also horizontally like I did. Changing careers. I've been sharing my journey and using my skill set to help people find what is it that they need in their career to really, make them happy and satisfied. Um, in 2024, my life changed completely. I was pregnant with my daughter Sami, who was still born at full term. And since then, I've been navigating kind of my new identity and, persuading my passions even more. And I realized that I want to be really helping people, even more than I've been doing. Coaching was something that I always been doing, but I finally decided to kind of make it official and put the official qualification to it. So I successfully graduated last year, and I've been coaching kind of externally now, as well as kind of still keeping my full-time job. So I've been doing a lot of my personal rebuilding since my daughter died, and I'm now kind of blending the corporate background with certified coaching techniques and helping clients kind of move forward with compassion and with resilience while aligning kind of their lives with their new values and strengths, new or old, depending of who comes to me. But really, I think what's important to note here is that like helping others, you know um, to heal, but also to help them find their calling within their careers really, became part of my own journey. And career coaching is something that comes very naturally to me due to my background. But I'm also pursuing further education in grief coaching and also well-being. So I'm really driven by empowering individuals to find their inner voice and their direction in their lives, to navigate these difficult transitions. And through coaching, I always just try to create like very safe space just for individuals to come and become their thinking partner, to help them explore their thoughts, beyond their initial thinking. Because a lot of the times we do have the answers within us. We're just so overwhelmed with everything that's going on that we don't allow the space to structure our thoughts and our process. And I think on that front, like I'm delighted to be part of Spark and Heal project, and work with you, Ina, and help women that are going through treatment and post treatment to find their new identity within their professional life and navigate those kind of challenging moments that come within their careers. So
I'm very sorry about your loss. It should have been really painful. At the same time, I admire your strengths and resilience in using this loss and building the new identity. I can relate to that, even though what we lost is different. When women are when women are going through this life-changing diagnosis, as any other dramatic event that happens in life, we are losing our old self, and we are now navigating this path when we still don't know who we are. And very often it's quite debilitating because we are in this limbo. We don't know what is happening. And especially when it comes to career, this is a really big and serious gap because we can learn how to get nutrition, how to exercise, these things everybody's talking about. We know that we need to physically recover. We need to know somehow that we need to emotionally recover. I have rarely heard about career change or about reintegrating back into the workforce. And that's where all the questions also start, because career is a huge part of our identity. How a woman should go about this transition when she stops the treatment and she knows that next week I go back to work. Where does she even begin?
gosh, massive question. It's difficult, after such a big thing, such a big like life-changing event, your relationship with yourself will be different because you are different now. So, your body feels different to you, your place in the world, your relationships probably change, your energy levels are different throughout the day. There is a lot of changes that, you need to pay attention to while going back to work, right? And then it's it's a massive shift because all your energy has gone to getting better and working on surviving, really, just wanting to be here. And now you're here, you're someone different, and now you need to come into an environment, maybe to your old job most likely, uh where likely nothing has changed. um and this can be really daunting. This can be really, really hard, because maybe you always loved your job and it was really important for you, and it still might be up on your values and on your kind of life values and what's important for you. The job might still be high up, but you are not the same, because how could you be the same after what you went through? And I think the first thing to do is to just realize that things won't be the same, and acknowledge that, and soften that inner voice that is telling us a lot of the times that we need to perform or we need to come back and be who we were. And I think thinking about how we talk to ourselves in the first place, it's really important with that transition, because it's a massive change. And we're now being put into among these people that we need to explain what happened, right? Like, either they might not be familiar with what our situation was, where we were, why were we off work, and this could be really horrifying. It could be really, like, there could be a lot of fear. So one thing that definitely can help is writing down your story, writing it down, and rehearsing how you are going to tell strangers your story. um, this could be very high level. If you don't want to share details, that's completely fine. It could be into more detail. You can even prepare like 3 different stories for maybe someone you never met, how you tell them while you were, out of work, for someone that you knew before. But obviously, I think a lot of the times we come back and we might be comfortable with the change, but they are not, because now they might look at us different. They might have their own thoughts about, what happened, but they don't really know what happened. So it's up to you to build that story and to build the story the way you want to, and to shape it. Because, like, I believe that we are creators of our own story, even though the disease happened to us and we couldn't have done any better, but we are now here and we do have impact on what's happening. So I think I love working with clients to empower them to not feel like a victim of this situation, but to take control. And I think taking control of our own voice first, and then of the story, and that can help us feel a little bit more secure with what's happening. Because, as you said there in your question, it could be really daunting. It could be feel very new. Does does that kind of answer, I guess, what you're looking
Yeah,
for?
absolutely, absolutely. And this brings me to a very interesting topic of sharing about the diagnosis. There are so many elements that can impact it. First of all, this is a personal preference. A person can be more introverted or more open into sharing. It depends on the culture. And then it can also depend on the corporate culture. How do we talk about our diagnosis to our peers, to our manager, to wider stakeholders who maybe work in another offices in other geographies?
Yeah, it is very difficult, and it does really vary. The first thing to think about is what you are comfortable with, because everyone is comfortable with something else. Like, some people might be very comfortable sharing that they had the diagnosis, that they had the treatment, that they're healthy, and some people, as you say, might be more introverted and not, or maybe not even introverted, just want to keep the story to themselves as well. And it's important to realize that both things are okay. And you don't have to answer to questions you're being asked. People can ask their questions, but it's your choice to reply the way you want to. And a lot of the times we feel like put on the spot, or based on the culture. It might be the culture maybe where they're too open and we are not comfortable. And I think that's why I recommended, and I always recommend writing down your story and learning it. Learn how to naturally speak your story in the way that you are comfortable sharing. And trust me, they will not keep asking follow-up questions if you share what you're comfortable with. I think the element of surprise is what makes our chest like tight, and what makes us like uncomfortable. It's the element when we are in a work forum, and suddenly we're asked a question. I think being ready to answer it, oh, I was out on a sick leave, full stop. I don't need to say anything else. Um, or whatever you like to say. I had cancer and I had treatment. I was out of office. That's okay as well, as long as you feel comfortable. So I always say, prepare the story the way you want to say it, the way you want to tell it. It doesn't matter if you make them uncomfortable. You are the one that had the treatment. You are the one that went through it all. So other people will feel uncomfortable, probably, because like, no one likes to talk about someone being sick and or someone almost dying. And it is topics like death is very stigmatized in the society. And when you are close to death, you realize that you start perceiving it so different, that it's part of life and it's everywhere around. But, people are very uncomfortable talking about it. And, you know, thankfully, hopefully there is a lot of success with, breast cancer treatment and everything. But people might still be, public might still be uncomfortable. talking about it. But I think dealing with different scenarios of different meetings with different strangers at work and different dynamics, it's always up to you how you kind of narrate your story and what you want to say. Preparation is the key, 100%, and rehearse until you feel comfortable with that's it, that you learn that this is what I want to tell people. And this could be, as I mentioned, it could be different versions for different audience. Um, but I believe that really helps.
What you said about your own crafting your own narrative is important. You went through such a huge transition and then you go back to work and nothing changed there. And sometimes people even don't care like what happened to you. They just like, you were away. Um, so there may be two scenarios. On one side, you may have people who really care and who genuinely want to help. They want to understand how to support you in this transition. On the other hand, you have people who don't care and who may even blame you for any mistake that you make. Maybe you have not sickness, but maybe you feel low energy and you are unable to continue your day. And these people will just look at you and say, not only this person was away for so long, but cannot now perform the duties. And so I see the value of this narrative very strongly because we know this environment so well that we can create different stories, how we address this to people in both of these buckets. And then it comes your manager, of course, or your managers. Sometimes you have more than one. When we come after such a dramatic experience that had a lot of impact on our body, but also on our mind, we have this chemo fog or chemo brain, which is also present in women in menopause. But after chemo treatment, this whole process of impacting cognitive abilities happens faster. And therefore, the side effect is a little bit more dramatic. When we come back to work, we need to explain to our manager that we are not exactly the same. And in this case, we may need some adaptation and more flexibility to the day-to-day task. How would you advise to have this conversation, how to approach this with a manager, and well, hopefully the manager is on board, and how to deal in difficult situations when manager is a little bit reluctant of offering some flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah, um, it's hard. Understanding your rights and doing, some research might help. Um, in terms of maybe the country laws or also your company culture. So I guess also depending what the environment of the work is. In many countries, cancer survivors, are considered people with disabilities, which gives you legal protection in case anyone would want to discriminate against you. So, knowing you're eligible for accommodations might put you in a position of more self-confidence having these conversations. Uh, a lot of the times, you don't have to disclose the diagnosis. You can just say you had medical conditions. You don't need to go into details. This is, I think, most countries. You don't need to share nitty gritty of the things. Um, Also, in many countries, your employer might be obliged to give you modifications, whatever they might be. So either kind of a slow return to work, for example, or flexible working hours, or different working arrangements. For example, if you want to come back part time first for particular time. But I think, yeah, understanding what you're eligible for. That's important when you come to this conversation. And you know, I, you're kind of hopeful. Like, I'm going to approach it like from the perspective of positive manager. So you're hopeful that you will have supportive manager, supporting team, that will be available and will try to help you. um, Writing down what your needs are coming into that conversation might be very important. So thinking and planning what it is that I need to happen at work, in order for me to feel comfortable coming back. I think so. Understanding our own selves. So before starting talking about adjustments, is like, okay, what is it that I need? Am I high energy in the morning or am I more high energy in the afternoon? Am I even able to work 8 hours a day now? Can I maybe work 4 hours? Or do I need completely flexible schedule because I just don't know how I will feel? Um, do I need to maybe work more from home? Or would I prefer to go into the office because I do need to be around people a little bit? I think that will cheer me up. Um, we are people with different needs and with different, no same person heals the same way, or we can be going through similar things, but it's never the same experience because what happens with inside us, it's very different for each one of us. So I think understanding what's happening and what do you need is the first step. Researching your rights, what you can even ask for, and trying to, sometimes it helps, like just trying to, like, think about that chat with the manager or with the team. How might that look like for you? Writing notes is important because then you will not forget anything. You mentioned the hemo brain. It might kick in. This is a new situation. Maybe you were the best performer before. You were a high performer. You were working on evenings, checking your emails on the weekends, and now you're coming back to work and you're realizing you're not the same and you cannot work the same way. And you need to communicate this somehow, so you are comfortable with what's going to happen at work. And as I mentioned, like, you're hoping for a supportive team, but it might be that they might ask you follow-up questions, or it might be that you might need, additional, maybe note from the doctor about your needs as well. I think it really depends on the company, but it could be very scary to have this conversation because, like, as you say, like, as we said before, everyone is the same. Maybe the team is the same. Maybe you have a new manager. You don't know. Things might have changed. You might be talking to a complete stranger about something so personal as well. So preparation, writing it down, and understanding yourself, what you need, is the key to coming to that conversation. I would say, and it's part of the process. So don't blame yourself if you don't tell them everything in the first chat, or if you need to tell them, can I think about this, or can I take this away, like, not feel pressured to agree to things, or you know um to be put on the spot. I think when we come after such a big change, we need time, and we need time to process, and we need time to think about it, and we need time to adjust. So I think it's important to feel empowered to ask for the time, and to ask for, write it down and say, can I just think about it? Something small like that, but it might prevent you agreeing to something that actually you will come back, you will finish the conversation and you'll realize this is not actually what I want or what I need. But I was just put on the spot and I panicked, because we all do. But I think giving yourself the time, and that, coming back to the preparation, it can really, really help. Asking also if you have, I think, colleagues at work that you kept close with, that you kept in touch, if there are such. Maybe asking them what is the dynamics, how did the dynamics change in the workplace as well. So understanding, maybe, if any relationships may have switched, because a lot of companies, are quite dynamic. So you might not be coming completely back to the same team. Um, so I always recommend, almost asking questions, if you can, if you have any contacts, checking that environment as well. That might help you just feel more comfortable. Um, yeah, those are kind of top things that come to my mind at the moment.
I would like to move away from these super practical things now and jump into something a little bit more philosophical or serious dramatic event in life makes us change perspective. And I'm the first person to say that, yes, it has changed mine. After I recovered from breast cancer, I don't look at life, at work, at friendships, at everything the same anymore. So I imagine that a lot of women who come from this treatment, they are also the same. Now imagine that they go back to the same work, but they have completely reevaluated what is happening, and they either don't like it anymore or they're lost in the sense they don't know what to do with themselves. There is quite a high percentage of women who are unsure about their current career and what to do with their professional lives.
Yes, it's a great question. I think what I would recommend is that don't make decisions quickly when coming back. So I think when we're in a position where everything changed around us, our worldview, how we see how we see ourselves, everything is new and different. Initially, if it's like straight after treatment coming back, it might not be the best idea to quit the job which you think that you don't like, you don't align anymore. You know, I would say we might regret it. So giving yourself the time and being okay knowing that this job doesn't align with my values anymore, it's completely okay. That doesn't mean that you need to quit. It doesn't straight away. It does, it doesn't mean that you need to make an extra change. And I'm saying this because it's an extra new thing for you. So everything is gonna feel different. But even you coming back to your old job will feel different. But quitting job and trying to find a new job in the new environment with the new, might be a great idea, but maybe, just be aware that you might like want to give yourself a little time. That would be the first thing I would mention. Like not making any extra drastic decisions within the first couple months of coming back. Kind of let it sink in. Like knowing that work isn't top of your list, or that it changed priority, it's so natural. And a lot of us might feel that we want something completely different, and that's great. I think we are not the same. We want something else. That's fine. But the way I work with clients is, let's make a plan. How could that look like? What is the actual path? Like where we want to be in 6 months, in 1 year? How do we want to feel? Like what, and then, work from there to what the path could be. What could we do? What steps could we take? How could we slowly navigate this change? Because it is an extra change. So it might feel very daunting coming back. It might feel very hard. The first couple of weeks might be really hard, but it is the stable thing at that time. So it might be the stable. Hopefully, fingers crossed, is the stable thing, and then we'll get the accommodations after the treatment. I'm completely fully aware not every workplace might be so accommodating, and there might be other challenges, and maybe our listeners are thinking, Andrea, you're presenting it like as if it was a given thing. I know it's not. I know it might not be. But before you quit and before you say I want to find something else, like think about making a plan. I think that would be my advice. Think about like, how is this plan going to look like? Do you have financial resources, and do you have the resources behind you to support you with that transition? because going through treatment, being out of work, that might look so different for everyone, but like having extra financial pressure might have already built up during the treatment. And changing jobs, looking for a job, looking for a job, it's a full-time job on its own. So it requires a lot of time, effort, and energy. So, navigating it very gently, with ourselves is very important. And evaluating our energy levels and what we can and cannot do, and working with the coach or working with therapists, whatever you need, or just working with the friend, and just telling your friend, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think? And it doesn't matter what anyone thinks, what matters is what you think. But I would recommend, have a plan, be gentle with yourself, and don't feel pressured to make the change. You might feel overwhelmed, you might feel very pushed with your new identity to make these changes. But I would recommend do it gently, and do it with a plan. And you don't want to put extra financial pressure, behind you. And yeah, I think those would be kind of the key things.
Okay, let's imagine that I am back to work and I realize what I'm doing doesn't make sense anymore. My values have changed, my life priorities have changed. I wait next, I don't know, 6 months. Um, I give myself time, but then I realize that it's really not the same anymore. Uh, how do you evaluate what to do next? What are the practical steps, or some practical plan, or at least this inquiry about what is this new thing that can be aligned with my value is? How do you talk with your clients when they come with such a request?
Yes. So there's a couple different things we do together. So first is looking at the values, because you might know what your values are, but actually working with someone as a coach and saying it out loud, putting it in order, making it, I would make my clients like do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the values are, but really marking them based on the priorities, and talking about it and why each priority sits where it sits. So that's um, a practical thing to do. There's different value and strength exercises that I do with clients to explore a little bit outside of their comfort zone, so outside of the obvious, because you have your values and strength that you might be aware of. There might be a lot of them that you might not be. So there's different models I use. There's different questions that I use just to explore, kind of self-exploratory exercises that might be good. And I always come back to what does bring clients joy. And it doesn't need to be at work, but in general, like I just explore, like, what is it that makes you happy at the moment? Like, what is it? Is it small things when you eat chocolate in the morning? Is it, bigger things when, what kind of moments, I bring them to those happy moments, and explore that, because I think it's so important that if you want to align your career with your passions and your new identity, you need to know what is it actually that brings you joy. And I think this is usually where people light up, when you take them from that miserable place of this job, which they don't align anymore with, and they feel a little misplaced in life, to wow, yes, yes, I want to be in the mountains, yes, I want to be out in fresh air, nature brings me joy, things like that. And from that exploratory kind of exercise, you can start narrowing it down to practical bits, of life, practical bits with day-to-day job. As a coach, I ask people questions that, te- they tease them a little bit. They might seem so obvious, but it's not something they really thought about, because no one ever asked them that. Because who comes to you and asks you what brings you joy every day, or what was it that made you happy today or this week? And I think that's where I start the exploration about the next steps. So we start with the values, the strength, the bigger picture, and we narrow it down, and usually clients have their own answers and they already know, because we all have this internal intuition and this internal calling. So, I think we already know what we want to do, but it just didn't come to our consciousness logically, that this makes sense for us, because it might be a completely different career. It might be something completely else. You might need to study for it. You might need to get an extra degree, or you might just need to, learn from other people, or maybe it might seem impossible. Maybe it's like, well, I have no experience in this field. I want to do this, but I had never done it. Where do I start, Andrea? And I think, we go from there to also practical bits, because you need to consider the change in income, what your family situation is. Do you have small children? Can you afford to have extra lessons or course in the evenings or on the weekend? Do you have the time? So you kind of start narrowing it down, narrowing it down, and eventually it clicks. There are the moments, and this is why I love this work. There are the moments when it just clicks, and then there's the aha from the client, and they're like, "Yes, yes, Andrea, this is it. I think this is it." And it might not be that one job, it might not be that one answer, but it might be just bringing them closer to what they want in the new career. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Um, all right. So now when we know the value, I would like to ask you, share one of the frameworks that you use with your clients, and everybody who is watching can practically do this exercise together with us.
Perfect. Great. Yeah, let's do it. So one of the tools that is like a very, very basic tool that I use with a lot of clients at the beginning is called the Wheel of Life. So it's very simple. You draw a circle on the paper, and you split the circle into different parts. Different parts. So one part would be family. Then it would be career, finance, health, relationships. You can also include personal growth. So it's important, and social life, for example. So those would be kind of like the main sections. And then what you would do is that you would look at each section and rate it between 1 to 10. So 10 being, I'm completely happy in this field. I feel super satisfied with how my family is. 1 being, I'm very low here. So you rate each area how you currently feel. So that could be kind of the first step. And usually kind of what I would do is I would like give clients some time to do this, and then ask them, okay, what is it that makes your family a 10? So talk about the happy high numbers. So there will be 1 or 2, usually it's quite higher. Someone makes it 10, someone's best is 8. But I would just pick what is it that makes it, so high. And then, let's talk about the low areas. So what is it that, makes your health a 3? Or what is it that makes your personal growth 2, or your career 2, let's say. And based on this, I think you can understand a little bit more the dynamics of your life, right? So you identify, okay, these are the areas that I'm happy with, and these are the areas where I still need to work on. I would use this exercise just for exploratory one, and it would be a good basis to understand kind of where the client is at the moment in their life, because sometimes we don't know ourselves. We feel like things are not feeling just right. We feel unhappy at work, but we don't really know like what is it. So doing this exercise might help even to organize ourselves. Okay, what are the areas of our lives that we are impacted on right now? Then I would usually kind of say, okay, so tell me about your career. What would it make to go from 3 to 7? what do you need? You know, so answering the
I'm
questions to yourself, like, okay, what do I need it to go higher in this area, right? And then I would also ask clients after this is like, okay, what is it specifically that, is important for you to work on for the next 6 months? Because there might be an area, for example, relationships that might be quite low, but it might not be a priority. But with this wheel of life, they will kind of discover, okay, I think career is where I need to go to. So before talking about complete values and pinning down the values and doing value exercises, this exercise is really good in checking with ourselves of where we are at and how do we feel, and maybe asking ourselves, okay, what do I need to get the score a little higher? Start thinking about it. So when we talked about the new identity and not feeling comfortable at work or not feeling comfortable with maybe some relationships, or maybe we don't feel like we have that personal development anymore, um it might help us like think of how we can start moving towards the different direction. We might feel overwhelmed a lot, but when we put it down on paper and we give it the numbers and we actually look at each area of our lives, and it might help us realize that this is where I need to do better, or this is where I'm actually really happy, and also appreciate what we have, because I think we reflect as we do the wheel of life. We reflect a lot on what's going on.
Andrea, if somebody who is listening now wants to know more about you and maybe book a discovery call or work with you, how they can find you?
Yeah, thank you. So at the moment, the best way to find me is via LinkedIn. It's some where I look every day, or here at Spark and Heal. We have our forum, so please, feel free to send me a message, reach out to me, or on the public on the LinkedIn. I'm always happy to, meet clients for just 30 minutes, exploratory call to see if it would be a good match, before starting working together. So definitely that would be the best way. I have a couple of projects that I'm working on at the moment, so things are quite dynamic for me. There might be changes in the future. I might have been launching websites and have other things going on, but because still I have a full-time job within telling engagement, so most of my coaching clients have connected with me via network and via different projects that I'm involved in. So please don't hesitate to drop me a message, and we can chat about your needs and take it from there.
Great. I would really recommend you to connect with Andrea, because just having this exploratory call can bring you a lot of balance and give some directions. Let's leave all the links in the comment box below the video. And I want to thank you for your time. It was really interesting to talk with you. We had both more philosophical topics and quite practical steps. I hope that our listeners now a little bit more equipped into returning to the workplace after serious illness like breast cancer.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and yeah, best of luck to all the listeners with everything they're doing. Like, yeah, I think it's important to feel proud of ourselves. So even if you just listen to this podcast, I think you already made a step towards getting better and getting on your journey. So yeah, best of luck to everyone, and thanks, Ina, again. I'm delighted to be part of Bark and Heal.
Bye, Andrea.
Bye, bye.